This book is called The Legend of Spookley the Square Pumpkin, written by Joe Troiano, illustrated by Susan Banta. And I look at the cover and I see, there's a square pumpkin. I've never seen a square pumpkin. Most pumpkins are round, and I ask myself some questions as I read. I wonder why he's square. Let's read on and find out. Here's the title page, The Legend of Spookley the Square Pumpkin. One day in the pumpkin patch, the strangest little pumpkin hatched. Spookley wasn't like his friends, where they had curves, he had ends. Spookley was different, he was odd, he was rare. Spookley the pumpkin wasn't round, he was square. You know what I'm starting to notice about this book right away is that there's some rhyming. Patch and hatched and rare and square. There's some rhyming in this book that helps me read it a little better. While the round pumpkins had fun rolling along, poor Spookley sat there shaped all wrong. He tried and tried with all his might, but he couldn't budge. He just sat tight. Other pumpkins teased him because he was square. Spookley wished he was round and could roll everywhere. That is, until one night when they all discovered it's fine to be round when the weather is fair, but there are times it's better to be square. So it sounds like there's going to be some kind of problem and solution. I wonder what the problem's going to be. Have something to do with their shapes, maybe? Somehow it's going to help him to be square, though. That's what I'm getting. Halloween was just a day away when a mighty storm blew across the bay. It tossed the round pumpkin to and fro. It snapped their vines, then off they'd go, bouncing left, slamming right, banging, bashing, what a sight. Spookley sat there filled with fright, but glad to be square that night. Oh, it was to his advantage. He couldn't roll around as a square pumpkin. Oh no, suddenly the fence gave way. 3 pumpkins rolled out and into the bay. Oh no. Spookley knew what must be done. It was up to him. He was the one. He teetered, he tottered, he tipped, he tried, and finally he flipped. He was on his side. Again he tipped, and again he flopped, and again he flipped, and then he stopped. Right in the gap where the fence had snapped, he blocked the way. The hole was capped. All the pumpkins shouted, "Hooray!" Spookley the square pumpkin had saved the day. Then a pumpkin hit him with a whack. He thought his shell would surely crack. Then another one hit him with a thump, and another one went smack. Then one by one a ton of pumpkins piled on the stack with a bang and a bash and a crunch and a crash, and then all went black. At dawn, when the storm had stopped, the farmer came out and checked his crop. He picked his pumpkins up one by one and laid them out in the warm, dry sun. And when the last was moved away, the farmer could see what had saved the day. An odd-shaped pumpkin, short and dense, was wedged along the broken fence. Its shell was bruised, its stem was too, but there was brave little Spookley sitting straight and strong and true. Right then and there the farmer knew, of all the seeds he's ever sown, Spookley's were the most special that had ever grown. So at first he was feeling like he didn't fit in, but now the farmer knows how special he is. And now the next year when it was time to sow, he sowed those seeds in every row. He watered and weeded and watched them grow. And oh, that morning about mid-June when the pumpkin patch began to bloom, there were tiny pumpkins everywhere, hundreds and hundreds, and most of them square. What else do you notice about the pumpkins in the pumpkin patch? Look really closely at the pictures. How else are they different? Some were cubes and some rectangular, some were flat and others triangular. There were a bed of bright red ones and 2 rows of blue. There were polka dot pumpkins and rainbow ones too. There were thousands of colors and hundreds of shapes. Oh, what a garden variety makes. Now every year on Halloween, Spookley's patch is quite a scene. People come from far and near to see what wonders grew that year. They stop, they gawk, they gaze, they stare, and then they pick a pumpkin that's round, triangular, or perfectly square. Now you know the story of how Spookley grew. Maybe someday you'll tell someone too, and they'll go tell someone who'll tell another. And maybe one day we'll all discover you can't judge a book or pumpkin by its cover.